The word kamikaze translates into the divine wind. Kamikaze is commonly known for the Japanese pilots who would crash their planes into Allied ships in World War II. These suicidal attacks struck fear into the sailors aboard their Navy vessels. However, the word kamikaze was initially coined much earlier. The Mongolian fleets of old attempted to attack Japan in the 13th century. The first fleet was destroyed by a typhoon in 1274, and the second fleet was destroyed by a similar typhoon in 1281. They call these typhoons the Divine Wind, or Kamikaze. These typhoons stopped the Mongolian invasion fleet from ever stepping a foot on Japan. The first kamikaze attacks of World War II occurred at the Battle of Leyte Gulf. Rear Admiral Masafumi Arima of the Japanese Imperial Navy is credited for inventing the kamikaze tactic when he led 100 planes into the battle and later crashed into an Allied ship. The first official kamikaze unit was created by Commander Asaki Tamai with a force of 24 pilots. The creation of the kamikaze units is due to the extreme losses of Japanese forces in the end of World War II. Kamikaze tactics were a last-ditch effort of the Empire of Japan, which began to lose the war after the Battle of Midway, where the carriers of the Japanese fleet were devastated. When the plane would strike the Allied vessel, it would cause a great amount of damage because the Japanese would load the plane with hundreds of pounds of explosives. The Japanese Empire sacrificed over 3,900 pilots due to kamikaze tactics. All in all, 34 Allied Navy ships were sunk, 368 others were damaged, and over 9,000 Allied sailors were killed or wounded. It was considered a great honor for the pilot to sacrifice their life for their country. Near the end of the war, Japan was nearly out of experienced pilots and started giving young, inexperienced men planes to crash into ships. The pilots were taught to take off but never to land, given only an instruction on how to use the planes they were to die in. The Japanese created a rocket plane which was loaded with explosives and was only used a handful of times. This rocket ship was called the MXY-7 Oka. These rocket ships were a one-way trip straight into the hull of an Allied warship, and only a few were ever recorded to hit their marks in the end of the war. The most notable attack of the Oka was when an Allied destroyer was completely split in two and sunk in a matter of minutes. The last ship sunk in World War II by kamikaze pilots was the USS Callahan.